You guys, Match on the Vanilla 43. Today we're going to be taking a look at the MTH Wi-Fi system, the Wi-Fi unit, and the application that corresponds with it. We'll take a quick look at the Wi-Fi first, and then we'll look at the application. We'll show you all about it, and we'll also run some trains with it. Okay, so we have the Wi-Fi mounted under the lift-up section of our control panel. You can see the box right here. Pretty nice. And then here's the Wi-Fi itself. As you guys can see, it is very, very tiny. You can see the TIU and the AIU next to it, and as you guys can see, it is pretty small. Now, there's two ways you can go about hooking this up, and we'll talk about those right now. So the first way you can hook this up is you can use the 9-pin serial connector that's right here. You can use that if you have an older TIU without the USB port. We don't have the USB port on our TIU, so that's what we did. Now, with the TIUs with the USB port, you would use a cable like this. This cable comes with the Wi-Fi unit, and if you have the TIU with the USB, all you do is you hook this end into the TIU connector, and then you hook the USB part up to the Wi-Fi. So if we were to grab the Wi-Fi here, you can see we have the USB hooked up to this serial cable here, and it goes to this splitter, and then on the other end of it we have the cable that you can run the Lionel trains with the DCS system. So if you have a TIU without the USB port, all you really need to hook up the Wi-Fi is a standard serial cable and just hook it up to this. You don't necessarily have to have the splitter if you don't use the 9-pin cable to connect to your Lionel base to run your Lionel trains with it. So, but in any case, that's the setup connection, and now we'll take a look at the application here. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the application that you can use. Now, real quickly before I start this, just like with the Lionel Wi-Fi, you can use the MTH Wi-Fi in one of two ways. You can either have it so it selects its own Wi-Fi network, or you can select it to be part of your home network. Now, we have it set up as its own network, so what you would do for that is you would go into the settings of the device and connect to the network that the unit has made, and then you can run the application. So let's take a look at the application here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and launch the application here. So here it's loading up, and this is the screen, the startup screen of the program here, and we can run the trains, which is going to be the main point of this program, but also you can view MTH's news, you can search for stuff, and you can view some of their catalogs. We'll take a look at that stuff after we talk about running the trains, so we're going to select that. It's going to read the TIU, and then we can go ahead and look at running the trains. So let's take a quick little tour of the interface of the app, and then we'll grab an engine and run it. Okay, so starting up on top here, we have the refresh button, and what this does is it reads the TIU or TIUs that you have hooked up to the system, and also it will go and search the track for engines that you have on the track, and it will automatically add them to the active engine list in this program. In the middle we have the name of the engine you're controlling. In this case here I have the Pennsylvania E8 on here. This down arrow, click on that, you can see some of the engines that are loaded in here. Now, I don't have every engine programmed yet, but as time goes on, more and more engines will be in here, and we'll come back to this when we want to add an engine, because the engine I'm going to be demoing this application with I don't have loaded into the app yet, but we'll get back to that a little later. Moving down some more, we have the bell. This of course triggers the bell on and off. Right here we have the startup button, which also doubles as the shutdown button, so this is where you would turn the engine on and off. We have the horn button in the case of a diesel engine, but if this is a steam engine, you'd have the pull cord for the whistle, and we'll get back to that when we run a steam engine. Right here we have the speedometer that you can run the engine with. You can either use the plus and minus buttons, or you can tap the different areas on the speedometer to get a not as precise speed with the train. Like if you want to hit 10 miles an hour, you just tap on 10 and it would go there. But with this plus and minus, you can do 1, 2, 3 all the way up, you know. So that's pretty good there. Then down here we have the F and R. That's for controlling the direction of the engine. And then down here we have this arrow, and if I click on that, it will open up some more features. Starting up top, we have the front and rear couplers. We have the headlights, smoke, and engine sound. Now if it's in purple, it's on. If it's in the gray color, it's off. You have the RPM up and down, the boost and brake, the protocast, the PFA, and the Doppler sound effects. We have down here the overall volume control of the engine, so you can just go ahead and grab a amount, and that would be the amount that is stored in the engine, and you can adjust your volume through there. You can also adjust the overall volume of the individual sounds in a different menu, which we'll take a look at in just a second. Next we'll come into this middle one, and this has all of your soft key options here. Now I'm not going to run through all these, but what I will do is I'll pick up the phone so you can see this a little bit better, and you can kind of see some of the features that you have. Now one thing I wish you could do, and I hope it comes soon, is you can actually name the features. Like on a passenger engine, usually the first two sound effects are the train arriving and departing a place. So maybe in time, maybe you'd be able to put arriving from Pittsburgh or departing from New York or whatever it is, you know, stuff like that. Just something a little bit easier than custom sound, you know, kind of not really sure what that might do. Down here we have the lights. You can turn the lights on the engine on and off, and now of course these are appropriate to the E8 Pennsylvania, but a different engine would have different lighting features. Again, if it's in purple, it's on. Then you can check some of the features here, like the odometer, chronometer, track voltage, track signal, and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And that's basically all for that menu. Next we'll move on to the settings panel. Okay, so click on the settings panel now, and then right here up on top we have the name of the engine, which you can edit if you want. Click on edit, and you can change it if you want to. Same thing with the address. You click on edit, and you can go ahead and change the address if you want to. Down here we have the sound volume, like I was talking about earlier. We have the engine sound volume, the horn volume, the bell volume, and the accent volume. Then we have some of the other features like the brake sounds, the clickety-clack, the cab chatter, the Doppler menu, and the auto coupler slack sound. Down here we have the speed. We have command, legacy, and conventional. Now legacy mode, it's not Lionel legacy control. I actually asked this question on the OGR forum just to be sure, and it is actually, when you click on that, the engine would not move. That's basically the same thing that the legacy mode on the DCS remote does. Here you can set the maximum speed of the engine to whatever you like. The direction lock, you can make it go in only forward or backwards, or you can have it unlocked. The acceleration and deceleration rates are right here. The smoke, low, medium, and high. And then down here we have some reset options. We have the engine feature reset, engine factory reset, the TIU feature reset, and the TIU factory reset. I don't really know why they put the TIU resets on here. I don't particularly see a reason to have it on there, but that's just me. So now what we'll do is we'll grab a locomotive and we will run it with the application here. Okay, so my engine of choice is this MTH Premier Line Union Pacific Challenger. It's been a long time since I've ran this, so we'll go ahead and get it going with the program here. So let's take a look. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add the Challenger to the app. So you're going to click on the down arrow, And then you're going to go down to New, where it says Add MTH Engine. It's going to read the track and find the engine. Now in this particular case it only found the Challenger, but if you had multiple engines that were not added into the program, it would find all of them. So we're going to click on the Challenger and it'll bring you to this screen here, and we're going to run the engine, but if you wanted to add more you would just hit return to engine list and then you can add more if you wanted to. So we're going to click on run engine, and then we're on the Challenger controls. So let's power up the engine and get it going. Okay, so we're going to get going. We're going to power up the engine by hitting start up. As you can hear, the engine has come to life. So I'll show you guys kind of how to run it, and then we'll focus on the train in a minute. So kind of hold it like this so maybe you can see it's a little bit better. We have the bell here. We have the whistle.
You better drop off our outlaw.
Now that's just the standard whistle there. You can do the quillable whistle, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. Here we have the speedometer, like I said. So again, you can either just use the plus and minus buttons, like this. Or you can just tap on an area of the speedometer, like that. If you want to change direction, you can do that. If you want to change direction again, you can do that. Now if you change direction and the engine's moving, it would stop the engine. Give a listen to the coupler sounds. As you can see, we have the smoke and all that on. Have the labor chuff, so what we'll do is we'll get this thing running here. I'll press it. And as you can see, the color on the speedometer changes. When you're in reverse, it's that gold color, and when you're in forward, it's green. And then again, you can control the volume. Now with the volume, you control it, and then when you let go, it will do the change. So I'll bring it all the way back up here. Here we go. And then we'll move on to the soft keys now, and we'll give a listen to some of those sounds. So next we'll give a listen to some of the soft key options. I'm not going to play all of them. Give a listen to some of the whistle sounds here. Got the forward signal, the reversing signal. Now that's one thing too, is that sometimes it will do the double sounds. I don't know why. It's something with the DCS remote too, and I've heard if you press and hold on it for a second it will not do it, so let's try that. There you go. The coupler close sound. We do the extended startup and shutdown there, and we have some of the custom sounds. I'll play a couple of these. Now on the newer engines, custom sound 1 is a short whistle sound. It did it twice because I hit the button twice. Custom sound 2 and 3. Now this is the passenger engine, so it will arrive and depart from a place. We'll do arriving, which is sound number 2.
Now we're arriving from Chicago on track 1, train number 11, Portland Roads.
And some of these other ones are stops along the route.
This stop is Pendleton. This stop is Hood River.
So those are some of the sound effects, and then we have some of the idle sounds. So I'll play one of these real quick here.
I want to blow her down now. Clear? Clear.
Then we have the alternate horn. Now I don't know why MTH put this on the Challenger, but it's here anyway. So there it is. And then we have some of the lights. And when we focus in on the train, I'll be able to show these a little bit better. And then real quick, the settings. There's just a few that aren't on the diesel here. You can do the chuff rate since it's a steamer. And you have the quillable whistle feature. So turn that on. And now when I hit the whistle, you can do the cooling effect. Which is way better than the actual MTH remote. I was very happy when I saw this feature because using the quillable whistle on the MTH remote is an absolute pain. So anyways, let's focus in on the Challenger and I can show you guys about the lights and stuff like that, and then we will grab another engine and I'll show you just some other features. I'll grab a diesel and I'll show you some other features, and then we will run some trains using the program. Okay, so I'm gonna do this so you can see the engine, hopefully. So on here you can do all these lights. You can do the interior lights, the marker lights, turn them on and off there, the number boards, the beacon light, which I think is the light on the back of the tender, I think. And then the firebox glows in the cab, so I'm not going to bring the camera in there to show you, but you can turn that on and off. And then again, if you go into here, you can do the headlights on and off. Pretty cool. Now one last thing I'll show you is the PFA sequence. Okay, so when you first hit the PFA button, you are presented with this, and you click activate, and then it will do the first sequence.
Now we're arriving from Chicago on track 1, train number 11, the Portland Roads.
Then when you hit stage 1, it'll do the first stage, and then same thing with the rest of them. So it says stage 2 now. I'll let you listen to the sounds.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Next is stage 2.
Welcome aboard. Ticketed passengers only. Let me help you with your baggage.
3.
Now departing for Portland on track 1, train number 11, the Portland Roads. Welcome aboard. Step right this way. Watch your step.
Now finally, the last one is stage 4. Now when it hits stage 4, it'll do the last sound sequence, but for some reason when you hit stage 4, it says stage 5. There is no stage 5. I don't know why it's there, but when you hit that, you'll get this.
All aboard. I see the conductor checking his watch again. Must be time to go. Conductor's giving us the highball signal. Let's get down the line.
And then when you're done, hit close. And that's that. Now I had the engine in reverse, that's why I did the reverse signal. And then one more thing we'll do, we'll go into the soft keys and we'll do the extended shutdown sequence.
Okay, shut it off. Take care. See you soon.
So now I'll grab a diesel engine and we will take a quick look at some of the other features. It's basically the same as steam, but I'll just show you some other things that are the differences between steam and diesel in the settings in particular. Okay, so I took the Challenger off and I threw on this Near Central U25B. This has Proto 2, not Proto 3, and I threw this on specifically just so you can see that you can run Proto 2 engines off the app as well. It's not just Proto 3s. So I'll power this on real fast. So you can just see some of the minor differences in the settings between diesel and steamers. So we have a horn here instead of a whistle. We have the RPM controls here. On a steamer, of course, these would be the labor and drift chuff. And of course, the lighting is a little bit different. And of course, this would vary from engine to engine. But other than that, it's the same between diesel and steamers. So nothing really else there. It's the same controls and everything else. So now we'll take a look at some of the other features of the app besides running trains. Now, as I said, when you go into the program for the first time here, you have some of the extra features here, like the news, the searching, and the catalogs. So if I click on one, let's say I click on catalogs, it will load up the web browser here, and you can view the MTH catalogs, which is pretty cool. And then if I was to go back to the program here, if you go to run my trains, now when you're on the home network, you can't actually run the trains, so you can see the U25B is inactive and I can't actually do anything with the program because it's not actually being used. But if I go to the more right here, you can do the news catalogs and search like that. But you can also do the videos. If you click on that, it'll bring you to their YouTube channel. And in case you haven't seen it, let it load. And you can do that there, which is pretty cool. And another thing you can do on here is you have this Shop MTH. So when you do that, it brings up another web page, and you have the online store, which is pretty cool. So I don't know when MTH did this. Probably was, I don't know if it's something just in the app or what, but you can view all this stuff, which is really, really cool. And of course, this is on the home network. Now, again, depending on how you set up the Wi-Fi module, you could have it be on your home network all the time, so you can do whatever you want on your device and be able to run the trains. But I've heard that that causes problems. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but that's just what I've heard. Now, the retail price on the Wi-Fi is around $180, but if you go through a good MTH dealer, of course, you can get a little bit of a discount off that price. And it does come with instructions and all that, so this video is more so of the program, not really about how to set it up and all that, but of course there are instructions that come with the Wi-Fi, so you can see all that. And I did a pretty good job, especially for our current setup, how you set up the Wi-Fi with it. So, but that's that. So one other thing on here is that in the program here, I'll fire it back up real quick. So when you go into here, you have the tracks, switches, and accessories. These will come out when the premium version of the app comes out, and I will do a video on that when that comes out. But also, this is the standard version of the app. I should have mentioned that when I started, but this is the standard version. With the free version, basically all you could do was these features up on here: the horn, bell, the speedometer. You could control the volume, I think. I can't remember really. And you can do these features up here, the PFA and all that you couldn't do. And same with all the soft keys and the options on here. You couldn't do them with a free version, so I went ahead and got the standard version, which is $5, and then the premium version I think is $25. But I hear that if you get the standard version now, you only got to pay $20. You just pay the difference, I think. But we'll find out when the premium version comes out. So you guys will see that video when the premium app comes out. I'll show you guys that and all that, so you can see that in action. But for now, that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, just go ahead and throw them my way, and I will try my best to answer them. So that's going to do it. I'm Matt, Trend 43. We'll catch you guys later.